Hey, Carrie, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. If you could, start off a little bit and tell us about your backstory and how your life was before you started your journey to improve your health.
Well, I think to really tell the tale, I have to go back to when I was a kid. About 5 years old, I went from being normal, average, like stick kid to all of a sudden gained a bunch of weight. I was always kind of bigger than my peers. And then growing up, it was just standard American diet in my house. Fast food a couple nights a week. But my mom did cook and, I ate a few vegetables, but mostly out of cans, and that kind of thing. Then, by late high school, I kind of had a little weight drop, but unfortunately the freshman 15 kicked in when I got to college. And then I met my partner and kind of got into that fat and happy situation. So over the course of, I'd say from probably mid 2003 to about 2006, I put on probably about 100 pounds over those 3 years. I don't really know, looking back on it. I think it was just the freedom of ordering food out all the time, being in college, not being very active, and the weight just kind of caught up with me.
And how did that extra weight negatively impact your life at that point?
Like I said, I was in college, and the thing that sticks out the most for me was just being on campus and being bigger than everyone else. It was really embarrassing. I would have to get to class at least 10 or 15 minutes early just to make sure that I could sit in one of the desks. A lot of the desks at my university had like the joined desk and seat, and I just couldn't fit in them. And then I was starting to get like sharp stabbing pains in my knee and shortness of breath when I was walking. And that kind of got me to go to the doctor and check everything. I was actually thinking I might have diabetes. My dad has it. And that's when I found out that my liver enzymes were really out of whack and that I was actually developing fatty liver disease from being overweight. And I was only 21 at the time.
And so what was your tipping point when you're just like, I have enough, I really need to get moving?
Yeah, it was probably around then. Like I said, I'd be walking on campus and shortness of breath, and then finding out that my liver was basically going to go into cirrhosis if I kept up my lifestyle. That was kind of my kick in the pants. And I was lucky to be in college at the time because I had access to a free nutritionist on campus. So that was the first step that I took. I'd always been active growing up, played a lot of sports, so I knew I wanted to get there someday. But at that point, I was so overweight. I was about 320 pounds, and I'm 5'8", that I knew I needed to really start with my diet.
And so how did you get started?
Well, first thing I did immediately was stop eating fried food. So my go-to meal anywhere I went was chicken tenders and fries. Just growing up, that was my thing. So I immediately cut out the fried food and I cut out drinking anything that had calories. Soda, coffee, drinks, that kind of thing. Those were the two biggest steps I made at first. And then also started to follow more of a meal plan and start counting calories.
And so how did you progress from there?
Counting calories was kind of an eye-opening experience for me. I was on a 1,600 calorie a day diet, which looking back probably was a little low for how much I weighed. But I really started to realize how many calories are in foods that you don't really think about. Getting to that point in time now where restaurants are starting to have to post that information more is really shocking to me when I started to track. So I had to really learn how to cook for myself and how to make better choices. So that was kind of what got the ball rolling. I'd cook a little bit here and there before that, but I switched primarily to eating mostly at home. And then probably I'd say a year or two after I started doing this, I stopped eating fast food completely. I'd still do that. So 2007 was the last time I had any fast food. So That was a big change.
And so along the way, did you experience any setbacks?
Not necessarily setbacks, but I definitely lost a bunch of weight very quickly. Not Biggest Loser dramatic style quickly, but I lost about 70 pounds in the first 6 months. And then I definitely plateaued. And that kind of, I stuck with my routine, but I wasn't losing any weight, but I also wasn't gaining any weight. So I did see that as a success at the time, but I wasn't quite at my goal weight yet at that point.
So how did you get past that plateau?
I definitely started being active more. I'd always kind of would, go to the gym, do the free session and, get a free week or whatever and think about joining and then not be consistent. And I kept, refining my diet, cutting out bad foods, eating more local organic type food. And that got me down to about 180 pounds, which was my original goal. But then I realized I could do more. So that's when I really picked up on the exercise. And at the time, I was working part-time and in grad school, so I didn't really have the money for a gym. So I actually took up running and used the Couch to 5K program to get started with that.
Nice, nice. And so, obviously, you probably experienced some ups and downs, as anybody does when they start a diet and exercise program. What kept you motivated during the hard times?